What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you to stop messing around with those conspiracy theories, but you did it anyway, and now you are online looking like a complete jackass. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, I did not get a chance to talk about this when it first happened, and I was kind of unaware of it until maybe about a week and a half ago. Mainly because, like I told you guys here on the channel, that my father passed away. So dealing with that and then like traveling back home to do the funeral and checking on my other family members and stuff like that. I was just not aware of any of this until, like I said, maybe like last Wednesday. And I finally got a chance to look it up and figure out what was going on. And it's the whole situation that's been going on with the rift with Lord Jamar and his friend Godfrey, the comedian, right? And for those who have no idea what's going on, I guess there's been like kind of a rift between the two, and it stems from, get ready for it, it stems from a debate that Lord Jamar had on Godfrey's podcast about flat earth theory. Out of all the things that can cause two black men to stop liking each other or two black men to be arguing, it's now come to this where people are fighting over the flat earth. And the one that is the advocate for flat earth is Lord Jamar. And I was unaware of this until I started looking up his stance on this and looking at some of his videos, and he's full on into it. Lord Jamar believes that the earth is flat, okay, and that we do not live on a spheroid planet. And he basically went on Godfrey's podcast to debate this white dude who is basically a flat earth debunker, and Lord Jamar came off looking like a jackass. And, now because of that, Lord Jamar is upset with his friend Godfrey. So let me say this first of all, okay? I don't even like debating about the flat earth. So please, 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 I'm begging you, do not come to my comments section and try to convince me that the earth is flat. Okay? You don't have to do that. If that's what you believe, if that's what your mind tells you or what you gather from reading the Bible, go right ahead. Okay? Be flat on the earth as you want to be. Whatever you want to believe, I'm cool with that. Okay, and I know there's some of you here because I've seen some of your comments and some of the things that you've said to me. So I know there's some lurking on my channel, but it's a dumb argument to begin with. Okay, there are more important things that we as a people need to be worried about. And I know some people might think like, what's more important about than the shape of the earth. But it's a dumb argument, okay? Our ancient ancestors knew what type of planet we were living on. People who have navigated the globe, like Africans and Moors and everybody else, knows what type of planet we live on, okay? We don't need to get into that, all right? That there's more important, like, social, economic things that we can be talking about if we're going to talk about the true problems on this planet. The earth being flat or a sphere is something that we've moved past a long time ago. We don't need to argue about that. And I the truth of the matter is, when I see a lot of these flat earthers and they make their arguments, a lot of their arguments are basically straw man arguments. They've made up in their own head what you need to do to prove to them that the earth is not flat. Like Lord Jamar even regurgitates a lot of that stuff where he says, I've never seen water stick to a spinning ball. So that means that, the oceans can't exist on a round planet. You know what I mean? Stuff like that is ridiculous to me. And also I noticed that, they have to, in order to explain the natural phenomena that go on this planet, they have to create a lot of things that basically make them look stupid. Like because then they have to explain, like, okay, if the Earth is flat, where's the sun? If the Earth is flat, where's the moon? What happens with the other planets? Um, why can we only see certain things from certain hemispheres? You see what I'm saying? Like, why can you only see certain stars from certain hemispheres if the world is flat? So they have to like create all this gobbledygook to justify this type of mindset. Basically, they have to create a religion based around their belief system. You see, so it's like I said, it's a ridiculous argument, and like I can understand why there are scientists out there who don't even want to bother with arguing back and forth about stuff like this because it's time wasting. It's time wasting. Like, why would I? I did not spend my entire life studying a certain thing about astrology or astronomy, and now I have to explain to you why it's true. I'm not doing that, right? Especially if you're going to be in denial about it, because that's something else I've learned about people who believe in the flat Earth. When you do prove certain things to them, they'll come up with every excuse in the world to say that you're lying. They'll call you, like Lord Jamar was calling people like Neil deGrasse Tyson an actor, and calling people Freemasons, and they, if you do take them do an experiment and showcase to them that the world is round, they'll just go and say, well, that was all fake. Like, very recently there was a situation where someone paid for these flat earthers to go to the South Pole and observe how the sun goes around in the sky to prove that the earth is round. All these flat earthers got online and said, well, those flat earthers are Freemasons and they were on a green screen. You know what I'm saying? So they'll make up whatever. If you were to pay for them to get on a rocket ship and fly into orbit, they would still say that, well, the earth is still really flat and this was all fake. That rocket ship flight was fake. So you can't explain it to them. That's why I say it's a belief system. It's a religion for them. And I'd rather them just come out and say that. At least Lord Jamar somewhat admits that it's a religious belief and not all facts. But even some of the ridiculous facts, quote unquote, that he gives are ridiculous. Like, the dumbest thing I've heard him say so far, he said this when he was on Godfrey's program, is the fact that the moon is see-through. That's why when we look at the moon, we can see through the moon and we can see the blue sky behind it. Like, when you see the moon during the daytime, like, he doesn't realize that you're looking at the moon through Earth's atmosphere. That's why it looks blue. It's not, the moon itself is not see-through. The moon is not on Earth or sitting in our atmosphere. It's far off, okay? But, these are things that are time wasting, and like I said, to even debate things like this. But when you have someone like Lord Jamar, who I like, I've always had some respect for him as someone who is in hip hop, when he talks about like hip hop music and rap music and even the culture to a degree. I agree with a lot of what he's saying, and I come from that background, that 5% background that he's also a part of, right? So, like, I've always had respect for that brother, and even when you think about that, if he's a 5%er, he should know better than to be talking about the Earth is flat. Like, all those people that you got your lessons from that passed down this knowledge to you told you what the Earth was. They knew, but you'd rather believe some white conspiracy theorists online who say the Earth is flat. You'd rather believe these Europeans who basically lived in the Dark Ages, who were extremely ignorant. You want to believe what the beast says about the shape of the world. You don't want to believe your brothers, right? So it's silly when you think about guys like that who are 5%ers or who are Moors or whatever, who take on these weird conspiracy theories. It's like you take on the weird conspiracy theories of these white Europeans who, like I said, barely survived the Dark Ages. When your people came to civilize them and tell them what the world truly was, you'll take the word over these weird old white supremacists, bigoted conspiracy theorists over your own people. That's weird to me, right? But even so, like, he got into that debate on Godfrey's program, and Godfrey and his people, they set it up because that's what Lord Jamar wanted, to debate somebody about, the shape of the world. So he went on there and, like I said, he acted like a complete ass. Basically, Lord Jamar acted on Godfrey's podcast the same way Umar Johnson acted on his podcast a few years ago. Like, if anyone remembers when Umar Johnson went on the Lord Jamar's podcast and he was being a jackass about the school, that's how Lord Jamar acted when he was with Godfrey. And he was debating this guy who was telling him that the earth was round. And he basically embarrassed himself. And to add insult to injury, then Lord Jamar gets back on his own podcast and say, well, he was acting weird because these people must have drugged him. He said the people on Godfrey's podcast must have drugged him. That's why he was acting weird and saying weird things. And instead of just admitting he was wrong, and then he brought some white conspiracy theorists on his show to, co-sign him. And those fools came on there and made a fool of Lord Jamar, in my opinion, because they started talking about, to use an example of the earth being flat, these white boys brought on a bucket of chicken and started talking about buckets of chicken. It's like really, dude, you let these white boys come on there and clown you like that? You didn't realize what they were doing? When they talk about like any other example of what the flat earth is, they'll use other examples. But when they come on the black man's program, they start talking about buckets of chicken. You see what I'm saying? Like that. Like, why would you let that happen? And then Lord Jamar was talking about suing Godfrey and whatnot, and he didn't. Like, Godfrey tried to save him. He tried taking that. He took that podcast down. He tried to take that podcast down to save Lord Jamar the embarrassment, but then he wanted to keep talking about it, and he wanted to talk about it on his own show and get mad at Godfrey. Now, like I said, he's talking about suing him, claiming he was drugged. It's like, dude, just take the L. You know what I'm saying? You lost. You look like a fool on that podcast trying to explain or not explain that, saying that the earth was flat. And that's another thing about people who believe in the whole flat earth. Like, they have no understanding of, like, basics of natural phenomena and physics and stuff like that. So they sound extremely ignorant when they talk. Like, you not understanding how things work does not mean everything is a conspiracy. This is something I've tried to explain to some of my people out there. If you don't understand how something is supposed to work, how can you always say it's a conspiracy theory? It's okay to say you don't understand, because then you can find out and you can learn, right? And you can actually learn from multiple sources. You don't have to just depend on one source if that's your problem. That's how I am. Like, I like to learn things from multiple sources and get as much evidence as possible. So you can do that. It's okay to say you don't know something or you don't understand something. That's okay, right? You don't have to ascribe to nonsense. And like I said, that's basically what flat earth is. It's nonsense, it's time wasting, and it's making Lord Jamar go out sad, because I consider him someone who was a great advocate for true hip hop music and also a great advocate for the black culture. But now he's looking like a buffoon because he wants to ascribe to this nonsense, right? And no one should go out like that, especially a man of his age should not be going out like that, right? So, I mean, you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. And once again, please, if you believe the earth is flat, go for it. That's all you. You have that. You can go talk about that on your channel. You can do a response to me on your channel telling me that you think the earth is flat and Mad Black is wrong. You can do that, or Mad Black is part of the Illuminati because I believe the earth is round, or because I know the earth is round, right? You can go do that on your show, on your YouTube channel. You don't have to do it here. Please don't do that, okay? Because I don't want my comment section to descend into buffoonery because of your strange belief system. So anyway, folks, you let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on this. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.